Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's going on, Fantasy Champs? My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always.
What's going on?
Today should be a rip your pants off real quick and put them back on kind of show.
That's a great analogy.
That probably is the worst analogy I could have gone because it sounds like I'm getting excited about something, but this literally is the worst position in the NFL. There's two guys that are good, and Rick and I are gonna have nothing to talk about for about 20 minutes.
Yep,
just
pretty much.
It's like the coaches show, except there's a lot of crap to talk about. Bro, what was there 3-4 head coaching changes in the NFL? Cardinals?
5, I think.
Because last year was 10.
Yeah, there wasn't
There's
that.
A lot.
There wasn't that many. Yeah, Cardinals, Texans, Colts, Panthers.
I'm gonna see if I can remember all of them. Arizona.
Who's the last one? There's one more, I think.
What is the guy's first name? Jonathan Gannon?
Yes.
Oh my god, guy! You sent me that video and I was like, "Oh my god, this is more cringy than the hello from Mike McDaniel to Tua."
Yeah.
And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but the guy looks so
Oh yeah, I feel like he might be this year's. I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett is such a low bar that I feel like any new coach can be better than that. But if there's going to be a coach that gets fired after year one, I think it could be.
Oh my god! Gannon. I'm just kind of There's something that astounds me about the NFL sometimes, and how hard it is for GMs and managers and owners to figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I would do a good job, but at least I wouldn't hire Jonathan Gannon. He would have walked in and introduced himself like that, and I would have been like, leave.
But who knows, bro? Maybe he's, look at Mike McDaniel.
Maybe he's a
savant. I don't think either of us would have hired Mike McDaniel, but he's...
Well, at least he looks smart.
Yeah.
Gannon looks like an idiot, and he just got 41 points. How many did the Chiefs score? 35, 38?
A lot.
Dropped on him in the Super Bowl, and they lost, and that was probably why they lost, because their defense was trash.
Yep.
So, good luck.
It was the
Chiefs. Good luck, Arizona.
I saw somewhere where people compared him to when Patricia got hired, because Patricia got hired and then gave up 40 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Patricia gave up 40 to Nick Foles. Gannon gave up 40 to Patrick Mahomes or whatever.
Yeah, that's
30 something.
There's something worse.
There's a little bit of a difference there.
Those two things aren't the same.
If I was a Cardinals fan, I'd definitely be very nervous.
Yeah, that's not good.
Can you guess the last one though?
Colts was Steve Sarkisian.
Okay. You know what the names too.
Is that how you say that?
I think it's Shane.
Shane Steichen? Thank you. Shane Steichen, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
I have not followed that closely. Because I remember the Texans guy, but now I don't.
He's
a young guy from DC from the 49ers, correct?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. We'll get into the coaches stuff, though, at some point.
But you're missing one, because I was missing one, too. That's the most obvious one.
The Jets? No. They still got it. Sean Payton went to the Denver Broncos.
Yes. That was the one that I was...
So how many were there?
There's 5.
I just named 3. And I didn't even really name them.
You named 4.
No, well, the Jets one does... I mean, the Texans one doesn't count because...
You can't remember his name. That's okay, but you know who he is.
What was the other team?
If I give you the team, is that giving it away?
I don't think so.
Panthers.
They changed their coach? No, I don't know.
I literally said this to you 5 minutes ago. I said who it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Frank Wright.
Oh, that's right. That's a great find. Whatever they were doing with Indianapolis, that's the easy one.
Yeah, both the Eagles coordinators got hired. So Shane Gannon.
If I walk into that room, if I'm Frank Reich and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna get Derek Carr," I'd be like, "Frick you! We're drafting a quarterback. I did this with Indianapolis. We're not playing this game." That's the first thing I say. Anyway, lots of coaching changes, lots of stuff moving around in the NFL. It's exciting to see a a lot of the changes happen. I'm not excited about the boring part. Like once you get to the draft and that's over, then Rick and I just sit in our, houses and rooms and apartments and watch videos of DK Metcalf jumping 6.5 feet in the air.
Yep.
So that's where things go. And then we just kind of, like that. I remember one year, it just sticks out in my mind. One year, David Montgomery, rookie, dude's juking around trash cans. Legit trash barrels. And people on Twitter are just, I'm a Montgomery guy, but they were losing it. Like, you see how fast this guy is? You're all wrong. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Hey, bro, the sauce hype worked, though. Remember all the sauce hype I was getting into?
That's true.
In training camp?
Oh, my God, yeah.
And then he ended up being a top 5 corner as a rookie.
All I'm getting is videos of Mac Jones working out with this new quarterback strength coach. And everyone's like, oh, my God, look at Mac working out. Looks great. And all I could see was his little paunch. Looks like he depression ate this year.
He got chubby?
Slightly looks like. Go Google the videos.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm glad he's working out now. To be honest with you, I would eat. He said he's fond of ice cream. I would eat 10 bowls of ice cream if I had to work with Fatty Patty.
That's true. Did you see ESPN gave their best free agent landing spots? Did like a big article.
Okay. What do we got?
The Patriots had 2 in the top 50. They had a Jaguars left. I think the Jaguars right tackle, who's a free agent. Apparently he's decent. He's not like great, but he's solid.
Oh, cool. Decent left tackle.
And then Jordan Poyer, the safety from the Bills, who's a stud.
I like that, but why are we replacing old safeties with old safeties?
That's true, but he's got to be younger than McCourty?
He's 30. He's 30.
Is he 30?
Yeah, he's like 29, 30 years old. I love Poirier. Don't get me wrong. He's fantastic. He's just very old.
He's 31.
For a safety. Ooh. Yeah.
I'd probably stay away from that.
That's a good signing, but that's like a short-term signing.
That's a 1 year.
Yeah.
McCourty is 35, though. Holy cow.
Yeah, he's old. He's very old.
If McCourty retires, I wouldn't mind signing Poyer to a 1 or 2 year deal, but he's definitely old.
He's faster. He's faster than McCourty.
He is.
Watching McCourty try to get places
I used to love Devin McCourty, but he is so washed.
Like I kind of want him to stick around just for the leadership point.
That's why we got Slater back.
But anyway,
we don't need them both.
Hey, listen, I really should start a podcast just on the Patriots at this point.
I know we could,
but anyway, so today we're going to talk about the consistent tight ends, break down the tight end position, some guys that were really consistent, and talk about some guys that were not so consistent. This should be a quick show just because there's usually like 10 tight ends in every league that are actually, I would say 8 tight ends that are startable on a week-to-week basis, maybe if that. And then the rest are kind of just all fair game and streamable. But I'm interested to dive into the numbers, see if there's any surprises, and see if we can get glean some information from some of this stuff. Remember, this is based on half PPR, so if you're yelling at us in the comments about, yeah. Before we do that, check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, please leave a review. Share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Click the bell for notifications, like, and comment down below any questions you may have for us. Without further ado, let's jump into the consistent tight ends. We talked about quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers already. So if you want to listen to those shows and go back, that's great. Get some of that information in your brain for drafting this year and see if it actually helps. I've started to shift a little. Having consistent players is super important, especially in the early rounds. Like having a guy like Christian McCaffrey who gets 88% of the time,
yes,
at least a quality performance, is very helpful. But I think this really only applies to top end players. Like, I feel like you need 2 or 3 really consistent players on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
To hold your team up in case guys crap the bed. And then you also need those guys like, back in the day when Tyreek Hill first came on and he would have a 30-point game and then two 5-point games in a row.
Right.
And it's like you need those players as well to give you these big boom weeks and take you over the top. But the consistent guys will carry you at least to victory in some instances. So
yeah, because if you have two guys that are getting, let's call it 18-point weeks. You got a running back and a receiver that gets you about 18 to 20 points every single week.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a 30-point game out of some random dude. You're probably almost a guaranteed. That's probably almost a guaranteed win, right?
Yeah.
But even if that guy sucks, let's say he gets 5 points, you still got a good shot at winning because of your consistent players.
If you're in a 4-point touchdown league and your quarterback drops 40 points, I'd be hard-pressed to believe you lost the game.
Right.
You tell me who your quarterback is and how many points they score. I'll tell you if you won. But yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Like, you definitely want those consistent guys and then the boom guys. I've seen this. I'm not going to mention names here, but there's a guy in our home league that strategically drafts mostly boom players.
Yeah.
And the dude is always like 500.
Yep.
Around there. Ekes into the playoffs. And then the boom players carry him.
It didn't happen this year.
Did not happen this year.
Had the opposite effect.
It did have the opposite effect, which was bound to happen, but he won the chip 2 straight years. So,
yeah.
So I mean, but that's the risk you play. Like, it's all, for me, it's like get into the dance is the first step. So like I don't really care like how my team's constructed until I know I'm in the playoffs, and then I care about how my team's constructed, but I care more about regular season construction at first, and then once you're in the playoffs, then you can start focusing on other aspects of it, because you got to get there first. A lot of people just draft and they go, I'm going all the way. And they draft for weeks 15, 16, and 17 or whatever it is in the draft. And it's like, okay, we don't even know what the defenses look like.
Right.
And Jordan Poirier goes to the Pats. Is it an easier matchup for you now? No.
No shot.
No shot. Pats had the best defense in the entire league. Never mind. All right, so let's talk about some tight ends. A poor performance for a tight end is 6 points. A quality performance is 6 to 11 points. So if you get less than 6 points, you suck at tight end.
Yeah.
If you get 6 to 11, I would say around 7 to 11 actually. Quality performance is a good performance. You want that. That's why I keep telling Rick, when I had TJ Hawkinson when he was on the Vikings, I was like, oh, that's not even the right team. When he was on the Lions, I was like, he gets 7-8 points a game even when he sucks. It carries me across the finish line because a lot of people suck and they get poor performances. And then great performance, obviously 11 points or more. These numbers can flux based on PPR to non-PPR, but this is based on half PPR numbers. So we're as close to the middle as we can get. Number one, biggest guy on the list, most consistent every single year is Travis Kelce. 76% of the time. He had 13 quality or great performances. The next closest guy, who I will not mention by name yet, had 5 less.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't even more, though.
Travis Kelce had more great performances than the second guy had quality performances.
Right.
So, I had quality and great performances combined. So, Kelce is obviously your above and beyond. And this is one guy I would want to. He did have 4 bus games, by the way. But this is one guy that I want to mention quickly because obviously we know Travis Kelce's good. Rick and I were out a little bit. And I don't know. Like, this is one of those hindsight 2020 things, but now that I'm looking back, like, how do we not make that mistake again? Because literally, I remember talking about this and just disregarding it in the offseason. I don't know why I did it. But, like, Hill was gone. Who are they throwing it to?
Right. I think we put too much of an emphasis on
age.
One was age for sure. I definitely did that. And I think 2, we also put too much of an emphasis on somebody will step up at receiver, whether it's Juju, Sky Moore, like somebody's going to emerge. But really just went more to Kelce.
Wow. Yeah.
Kelce had 20 more targets than he did the year before.
Right.
So, and he had more touchdowns. So yeah, but again, I'm like, he had 13. I was kind of expecting like 14 or 15 quality great games from Kelsey. It didn't feel like there was 1 or 2 weeks that I remember that he didn't have really good games, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he even had 4 poor games the entire season. Like he was a machine.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fantastic. So, I mean, going into next year, though, really quickly, are you in?
He's 33, dude. Like,
I'm with you.
I don't know.
How many
I
years
mean,
are we going to bite that
he's
ball?
gonna be a first-round pick again.
Yeah, I just
If
can't.
you're ever
I can't
gonna
do
take
it.
him in the first round, this past year was the year to do it.
I will say I do think that Kansas City, it was as fun as it was for them to average 7.8 yards per pass. I do think they don't want to do that anymore.
No.
So I would imagine that they're gonna go get, if they don't think Tony or Sky Moore is the guy, I think they're gonna go get one. So the question is, who is it? And like all the guys that I would imagine, like Bengals aren't trading T against the Chiefs because that's like straight competition. I heard Devontae Adams rumors that he might be on his way out.
Oh my gosh.
Like he's not going to the Chiefs. That's intra-division, so like that's not going to happen. The only guy that I could see that was like established that the Chiefs could actually get would be somebody in the opposite conference, and that would be DeAndre Hopkins. Does that really? I mean, it moves the needle, but like if something like that were to happen,
did just win the Super Bowl. I don't know if they're gonna like do anything crazy.
Yeah, they might not, but like Hop is cheap.
That's true.
So it's like they could go out and get him, but if they do, then I'm regressing on Travis Kelce and moving back.
Yeah. So what if they just run it back? If
they run it back, I still don't want to draft Travis Kelce in the first round, but if he's available late second, early third, I might take a pop.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, the third round for sure. I would take a pop.
And that's when we would get burned because we jumped in too late.
Right. The year, if you take him this year, I guarantee you he's tearing his ACL.
Yeah,
1,000%. Or if I take him.
Oh my God, how badly that they don't get a receiver. Travis Kelce goes down. Like the Chiefs, man. What? Yikes.
Yeah.
But anyway, the second guy that we have on this list is George Kittle. He had 53% quality, great performances, 5 great, 3 quality, 7 poor performances. This is Kittle, par for the course. Like,
yeah,
at this point in his career, like he either has really big games or he doesn't. So
yeah, he's the we talk about like those guys like Mike Williams, at receiver, Gabe Davis's. Oh, he more just sucks. But the guys that get like 6 points and then 25 sort of thing.
Yeah,
he's like that for tight ends.
Yeah,
he'll have 5-point weeks, 4-point weeks, and the next week he'll get like 25, 30.
That's crazy.
It's funny the guy who's really second on this list is not George Kittle.
No, he's not second on the last year's standings.
Do you know who's second?
Was that Mark Andrew? No.
Taysom Hill.
On the season.
On the season. And I will say, I think, half PPR does play a part because he doesn't have any catches. It's all like rushing and touchdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was second with 10 quality or great games.
So there is another factor with Taysom Hill that was involved in this, and we'll see if it continues happening because I don't know what the Saints' plan is for quarterback. Like, do they?
He played quarterback for a little bit.
He played quarterback for a minute. He's tight end eligible because he switched to tight end. They would throw him in there at quarterback at times.
Have him throw a deep ball. And
he would either throw a deep ball or something would happen, or there would be times where he would do design quarterback runs. And that is a factor with Taysom Hill. Now, right now, I think his ECR for next season in terms of rankings is 16 or 17.
He finished out, in terms of total fantasy points and PPR, he was tight end 8. So it's not like, and tight end 9 if you include week 18.
That's insane.
I don't think he gets. Well, he might get drafted, but he's not going to be drafted as like a starting tight end. I don't think.
This year, you had to pick your spots with Taysom because he did have those bust games. Like, obviously, he's not a tight end. He's a tight end, but he's not a tight end. He's he's not going to become Travis Kelce or George Kittle or Mark Andrews or T.J. Hawkinson or whatever.
No.
He's not going to become those guys. But
He's old.
The one thing that he does provide is there will be weeks where maybe the starting quarterback goes down and they got to go to the backup. In that instance, Taysom Hill becomes a really good play because he provides rushing upside. They're probably going to give him the ball on the ground and use him with those designed runs. And when that happens, it's going to benefit your fantasy team when it happens. But I think he's even though he had 10 quality or great performances, I don't think he's any more than streamable. I don't think you can rely on him on a week-to-week basis, even though the consistency says, maybe you could have. I just don't think you
would have had to pick your spots with him. And
yes.
He had 9 total touchdowns too. Like the games that he didn't get a touchdown, he was worthless.
Yeah. So just keep an eye out on him. Another guy that I wanted to mention that was a little bit lower on the list was Zach Ertz with 60%. He had 6 quality games, 0 great games. So he was always scoring like 6 to 11 fantasy points.
Yeah. He was actually really good.
Yeah, he was good from time to time. He got hurt in the season. I don't know where things are going to go with him with Arizona.
I think he tore his ACL too, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
And he's 32. That's kind of like...
So
I don't want to say a career ender, but...
Yeah, that could be it.
It could be it, yeah.
So, and then another guy. Let me see. I thought I saw somebody interesting.
Don't make me bring up your king there with 35%.
No, get the frick out of here, bro.
Talking about his consistency.
It's PP. I will say, when he got traded to the Vikings,
oh yeah, he was great.
The efficiency was not efficiency on the Lions was not great, and there would be weeks where they were throwing the ball a lot, and there would be weeks that they wouldn't throw it to him at all. When he went to the Vikings, he was getting 9-10 targets a week.
Yeah,
and it was consistent, and so I think this is one where the PPR numbers would flip.
It would for sure. He had because those games when he was with the Lions in the beginning of the year when he was getting like 8-point weeks.
Yeah.
In half PPR, it's probably like 6.
Yes.
Which would be considered a poor performance.
So that would kind of. But to me, it's like if he was around 7 points, I was happy, and I took that, and it ended up being great on the season for him. He's going to be a top 4 tight end at this point. But those PPR performances are huge. Like when he gets targeted that much, I will say the efficiency wasn't great with Minnesota. Like if you go back and you look at his efficiency numbers, like he was catching touchdowns at times and stuff like that, but like there were games where he would catch like 6 passes for like 40 yards. And I was like, I don't like that.
Right.
So, I do like Hawk. I think as far as a like sheer target share goes, like he's going to like put up some numbers. Just based on that in PPR, but 35% of the time, having a quality or great performance and have PPR and in standard leagues is not great.
No, not really.
I'm surprised Kyle Pitts is even at 30%.
I know.
He had 7 bust games, so 70% of the time he was just straight busting. And like, I don't know what to do with Kyle Pitts at this point. Like, tight ends always take 3 to 4 years.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's a developing take. But I'm going to be all in on Kyle Pitts this year.
And that might be that could
because of how bad he was.
So this is the big thing is that the Kyle Pitts people, and right now Kyle Pitts ECR I believe is early rankings at this point. Let me pull.
Don't give this to me.
I think it's top 5. Which that's a kick in the lower extremities. A
little bit.
Like, Kyle Pitts top 5 right now. So the hard part with Kyle Pitts is balancing the excitement with the ADP and where he ends up going. My hope is that in August he ends up like a Hawkinson-like player where he's drafted around around 7 to 9.
Yes, that's where I'm kind of was hoping.
And Rick and I are always on the same wavelength with fantasy football for a freaking reason. So we will be battling in the 7th round for Kyle Pitts. It depends on the quarterback too. Like. I will say, like, what happens? Let's just play theoretical. One team that's been connected to A1 Lamar Jackson?
The Atlanta Falcons.
And if he goes to Atlanta, do you know who he's held up for a very long time at the wide receiver, tight end position?
Mr. Mark Andrews.
Oh, and does that happen to Kyle Pitts, who I think is more of a freak athlete?
Don't get me started.
So if that happens, though, Kyle Pitts is going to be a top 3 tight end in fantasy football.
Yeah,
automatically.
I would I would definitely expect him to be a top 3 tight end.
But he's burned people so badly at this point.
Exactly. That's what I love about it.
It could push him down. So let's see. But he sucked.
He did suck, yeah.
Mark Andrews was right around the same area with 40%.
When Lamar went down, he was like worthless.
Yeah, he was basically worthless. That was all.
Which makes me nervous too if Lamar goes. Like
Mark Andrews is dead.
We'll see who the Ravens' replacement is, but maybe
Derek Carr.
Oh boy,
he's just waiting. The real solution. They wanted Joe Flacco all along.
What's Joe Flacco? Yeah, they wanted the next Flacco.
They were like, Carr. Oh, the GM drafted Lamar. What the hell is going on here? I was talking to this is terrible, but I was talking to my dad on Sunday, and he's not a Mac Jones guy. He's like out.
Anti-Mac.
Yeah, he's anti-Mac. You don't do your due diligence on things, and some of it's on Mac, but it doesn't help that a defensive coordinator was calling the plays. And anyway, so I brought up Lamar.
I
said, listen, like I would get rid of Mac for another guy. Like if Lamar Jackson became available, I'd do that. And he was like, no, don't want Lamar Jackson.
Quarterback snob.
Yeah, well, I mean, is that a quarterback snob? Because he's top 10.
I don't know.
Is he top 10 anymore?
I don't know.
But I still would take him over Mac.
What was his reasoning? He just doesn't like running quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think it was the running quarterback deal.
Which is funny because, like, that was so true, like, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or, not. I would say, like, more like maybe, like, 15 years ago. Right. But now, like, who's not a running quarterback outside of...
Yeah, I mean, I think, like Herbert, some would consider, like, oh, he runs, but, like, no, he's a pocket passer.
Yeah,
I think
Herbert, Burrow...
Mahomes is a
But those guys can all still move. Like, Herbert can move.
Yeah, they all can move. They just stand in the pocket and throw the ball. That's the thing. Right. It's like the difference between that and what
dual threat.
I love it. Like, if I could trade Justin Fields for Mac Jones, I'd do it in a second. Like, Justin Fields can do.
Who knows if the Bears take a quarterback first overall?
I'd be first in line.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Trade Mac to the Raiders.
Yep.
He got me so heated that I said,
did you see that report?
Mac gets traded to the Raiders, and then he lights it up.
That was an Albert Breer's report when he was talking about how I don't know which one was it that he had reported.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me pull it up. I think he was talking about, when he said that Bill didn't appreciate the way that Mac handled stuff last year. There's a way Bill thinks a franchise quarterback should conduct himself.
Yep.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
In that same report, he mentioned the Raiders would be probably very interested in Mac Jones if he became available.
He won't. Bill might leak that information, but Robert Kraft is going to be like,
Kraft
no,
won't.
We're not going to do that. But anyway, so Dallas Goedert was around 50%. Darren Waller was 44%.
That's better than I thought because he had a bad year.
Yeah, he had a bad year. Pat Freiermuth, I think this guy, he didn't have any great games. He just had a bunch of
one great game.
He just had a bunch of really quality games. He was
I'll take that though.
He was mid.
For a tight end?
I like it. I like where Pittsburgh's going. I don't know where we're going to be next year with Kenny Pickett, but I think there's some promising signs there. They have some good receivers, and I think Muth is a great red zone target. I think he's a good tight end for the future, so I would keep an eye on him in fantasy football. He's actually like, I would say this year in terms of like my breakout tight ends that I'm going to have to draft later in the draft that I like. Hopefully Kyle Pitts is in that conversation, but if I have to take a Pitts light, it's going to be Pat Freiermuth, because I think there's good signs for him. And Njoku's a joke.
Whoa.
He's old.
Njoku's a joke.
I'm not in.
No, he was tight end. He was tight end 11.
I would rag him for busting 57% of the time, but I
points
feel like
per game. He was 6th among tight ends.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I'm just saying. And you said he's old?
No, he's not old. He's like 27.
26. And if Deshaun Watson, bro, I'm the opposite, bro. I'm all in on it.
Deshaun Watson blows. Stop.
But if he does, he blew last year, and he still had good games.
Yeah, that's true. Well, how many of them were because of Jacoby Brissett?
Some of them.
Just all of them.
He had 1 or 2 good games with Watson, I think.
We'll see. No, that actually, now that you say it, it's not a bad late round draft, but I would say that's Pat Fryermuth light.
Yeah, I would rather Fryermuth than a Drew.
Cole Kmet had some okay games this year. He was like, he came on and then he busted. So I want to see where that goes.
Yeah, he was really up and down.
He was 35%. Any other tight ends you want to hit on?
Do you think Evan Ingram is going to be,
No.
if they bring him back to, because he's a free agent, but if they bring him back to Jacksonville?
I think he's a low end tight end 1 in Jacksonville, and that's about it. I don't think he can get past 8.
Yeah, I agree. And plus Calvin Ridley's there now, so.
Yeah, so I actually think the ECR has him at 10 right now. I think that's probably a good spot. I actually probably would take Cole Kmet over him and Dalton Schultz and even Dawson Knox maybe.
Yeah, so, that's fair. Maybe not Knox.
I just know.
I think I'd stop you at Knox.
Hey, he was
consistent.
Gabe Davis blows, so might as well go with. Man, the Bills really don't have anybody besides Stefon Diggs.
I know they're going to do something this offseason. I don't know what it is.
If Stefon Diggs went down, you'd have to run the ball with Devin Singletary and throw it to Gabe Davis.
I think they're gonna be the team that gets Odell. Now you can say that doesn't matter because he's old and washed, but
it doesn't matter to me.
That would be my bet on where Odell lands. Would be the Bills.
The last guy I was going to talk about, he actually had a decent rookie season this year. Probably one of the only tight ends that did well as a rookie, and that was Greg Dulcich from Denver.
Better than McBride.
I'm trying to think back to the days, the olden days with Sean Payton and Drew
Jimmy
Brees.
Graham, bro.
Jimmy Graham, yeah, that's a fair point. So maybe that's a good thing offensively for Denver. And
there's your sleeper tight end.
There's a sleeper tight end, deep sleeper, but I like it. I do like Okonkwo. I think he's great. I think he's very fast, but I don't think Tennessee will ever use him.
Yeah. So, at best, he's like Jonnu.
Yeah, at best. So there's some tight ends. Interesting stuff. It's been a good 2 weeks of consistency content, and I'm kind of glad it's over. We got rankings coming up.
Whoa.
Running backs next week. I love it. Top 10. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.